Hey, gang. So we did it. We won. The Liberals are in. Very strong minority government. I think they'll have great opportunities to get things done. I think as long as everyone remains, respectful of each other and be adults in the room, I really think that a lot of things will be changing in Canada. I think we are going to move forward as a global leader. I believe Mark Carney has the ability and the connections to really take our country to the next level, and I'm very excited for that. To my conservative voters, some of you, I understand, voted conservative because you weren't paying real close attention to politics and what's going on, and you wanted a change, and you don't know about all the behind the scenes and the fascism and all this stuff. I get it. Some people voted conservative for that reason. And those people hopefully will see in time that all of that stuff was just negative propaganda and that Mark Carney is not involved with all the big things or, whatever. They'll realize what really happened. And so, but I think going forward, the fight's not over. The fight's not over at all. We can say we dodged the bullet of fascism right now. But it's not going to back down. Donald Trump literally had ICE agents break into a home, take an entire family into custody in the middle of the night. The children were in their underwear, didn't even have pajamas in bed. They were in bed and they wouldn't let them put clothes on them. Took this family and is deporting them. He's arrested them. They were in the house for 2 weeks. They had just moved there. They weren't after that family. They were looking for the people who used to live in the house. So they took innocent people and have abducted them from their homes and have them detained right now, and they're American citizens. This level of dictatorship and commitment to fascism isn't just going to go quietly. So we know the Republican Party is in bed with the IDU, with Netanyahu and Orban and Pierre Poilievre and Stephen Harper. They're not just going to back down. They're not going to just say, oh, we lost in Canada, that's it. No, they're going for Australia next because Peter Dutton's in Australia. And the movement in Canada is going to get stronger. We need to shut this down now. We need to start educating people about the different levels of government. A lot of people this election were extremely angry about things that had nothing to do with the feds. These people were just angry because their quality of life was shitty, but they didn't look into why. They were blaming healthcare on the government. They were blaming local police forces on the government. I mean, these people were just blaming everything on the feds. They didn't break down who was in charge of what, especially in Alberta and Ontario. When you look at the votes from last night, Alberta and Ontario have conservative premiers. So a lot of the things that the people were hearing negatively day to day that was affecting them, they automatically associated it to the government, but they didn't take a step back and say, actually, it's my provincial government that's the problem. So I think going forward, first of all, to ensure we stay progressive as a country, to continue to always move forward, whether it's Liberal or NDP or the Greens or, whatever, in order for our country to stay progressive, we need to start educating our people. We need to start educating people on the different levels of government, who's responsible for what, and then we need to work together to hold Ontario government or Alberta government responsible for things that are specific. So, for example, when your MPs in your riding go to Ottawa and say the Liberals or the Greens or whoever puts forth a bill that benefits Canadians, you need to be talking about who voted no. Doesn't matter what party you voted for. You need to hold your government accountable, whether you voted Liberal or Conservative or anybody else. If somebody comes forward with a bill and that bill makes things better for Canadians, you need to pay attention to who voted against it. And we need to start calling out who voted against it. And then we need to start paying attention to where federal funding is going to the provinces and where that money's getting spent and where it's going. And we need to start educating people on this. Because people that don't have the time to pay attention, some of us are very hardcore in paying attention to what's going on in government. Some people just go to work for 8 hours, come home, do groceries, feed the kids, go to bed. They check their local news and they go to bed. they don't pay attention. And if the first headline on their news that they see is, crime rate or housing crisis or whatever, they automatically associate that with the federal government. Even though housing is a responsibility of the provinces, even though the amount of immigration was actually determined by the provinces asking for immigration students to fill university spots. Like, people were just blaming the wrong things on the wrong people, and we really need to get down to educating them, because now we need to separate the true fascists from the actual just uninformed voters. And we need to make sure that those fascists start losing numbers, because right now they still see themselves as popular because conservatives gain seats in certain areas. So these fascists think that they have more support, but that's really not the case. It's not that they have more support. It's that the people that aren't paying attention just voted because they wanted change. So we need to isolate them and make them understand that their opinion is not what the rest of Canada wants. And we need to shrink them down as much as we can and start teaching them it's unacceptable to have that kind of behavior. Because this is a worldwide push for fascism. This isn't going to slow down. If you think the next 4 years are going to be smooth, it's not. Because they are going to fight tooth and nail. This is the death rattle of fascism. We are on the verge of pushing it down forever. Because now we've pulled them out of the woodwork. Now you can see these people for who they really are. So we need to focus the lens even tighter. And the ones who made a mistake and voted the wrong way, we don't need to be mad at them. We don't need to remind them. We don't need to rub it in. We don't need to be mean to people. We need them to hold their own government accountable for things that make it better for them. And we need to make sure they hold the right people accountable. That's not an attack campaign. That's not a smear against conservative people. Just hold your government accountable for what they are responsible for. Because I have enough confidence in Mark Carney as a leader of this country that I believe that a lot of you are going to see in the next little while that none of your conspiracy theories were true. The whole deal with China, WEF, all of that stuff, you're going to see it wasn't true. He's not siding with Trump. He's not trying to give away Canada. You're going to see that Rebel News was wrong and that True North was wrong and Carney is not associated with Epstein and all the other rumors that you made. So I'm confident some of you are going to see the light. But for the ones that don't, those are the ones we need to shrink down in our society. Because those are the ones that actually believe that Donald Trump is doing a good thing. They believe that getting rid of immigrants is good. They believe that racism and hatred is a good response to any argument that you have. They believe in narcissistic behavior. They're racist, and we need to call those people out for who they are. So our job's not over. We need to educate. Ask people to hold their government accountable and start speaking out and naming the MPs who vote against things that benefit Canadians, whether they're conservative or liberal or green or whatever. If they vote against something positive for Canadians, they need to be called out on it and asked why. But we did it. We held the door to fascism for now. And we can take a few days to rest, but the battle's not over. We need to crush fascism at its core. And we need to educate people. I am so proud of this country right now. Australia is our next neighbor that's due for their election. Peter Dutton is a very much conservative Republican candidate. He's on that same side in the IDU. We need to start following Australian TikToks, start supporting our friends, show them how we, split the vote to make it happen in our country. Show them how we do it with positivity and love and spread our word and support our Australian neighbors. Let's move to the next one on the list, ladies and gentlemen. Fascism needs to die, and I'm on the crusade. Not only elbows up Canada, elbows up Australia. Good luck, guys.